drinking wouldn't have allowed me to explore this other area of me, and kind of was keeping me at this level. Like drinking, when you're drinking a lot, never elevates you. It never progresses you forward. All it does is just keep you here. Keeps you here. You know, you never have heard anybody ever say that I am really glad I started drinking again. Nobody's ever said that, because there's no reason to be glad. If you've stopped and you've seen the positive aspects that drinking has made towards your life being improved in every way, shape, or form, it's like there's no reason to look back. And that's where I'm sitting right now. I'm really not even like, oh, I'm 100 days sober, I hope I can make it 100 more. I'm almost like drinking isn't even a thing for me anymore. I don't drink, and life has gotten so much better without drinking in every way. So I know a lot of people hit me up on Twitter about being sober. I know a lot of people always ask me questions about it. So I've been thinking about this for a long time. I want to form a place where people can get together and talk about issues with addiction. It doesn't have to be limited to alcohol. It can be any other addiction. I know there's every addiction out there. And even if you're having a hard time in life with depression, if you're having a hard time in life with your family, with work, anything, I know that everybody needs somebody to talk to, and not everybody has somebody to talk to. So I'm going to use Ruin Your Day as a platform for that. Every week on Wednesdays, I haven't decided a time yet, probably around 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm going to have Ruin Your Day live for an hour. And basically what's going to be happening is the chat is going to be live, and that's going to be used as the floor for everybody to talk. I might be on a video feed answering questions to the chat. I might pull up some music that Ruin Your Day made to play. I might play some video in the background. It's going to be sort of a free-form vehicle type of feed. There's not going to be really a set thing that we're doing. The only thing that I want to go on is I want people to feel like it's a safe place to come into and talk and vent, talk to other people, maybe give advice. I'll be in there if anybody wants to ask any questions about being sober. I can give whatever advice I can for that. And yeah, essentially, I just think there needs to be a place like that. I think AA works really well for a lot of people because it's a community. It's a strong-knit community. You have a sponsor that holds you accountable for not drinking. You have other people that are going through the same thing as you. You realize there's a whole world out there of people that just don't drink. And that's rare these days, honestly. So I want there to be a place like that on Ruin Your Day that's doesn't have to be just limited to alcohol. It could be anything. You know, like my parents went through some heart problems this year, and that really devastated me. So, you know, I needed somebody to talk to about that. My ex-girlfriend's dog that I really love got cancer. My close friend just had cancer. So it's been tough for me as well this year, and I'm really thankful that I've had Ruin Your Day to talk to you guys about battle rap and forget about the troubles in my life, but I want to give back, and I want to create a platform where we can all come together and sort of be each other's shoulder to lean on every now and then. So just wanted to make this video to talk about me getting sober, my experience with it. Honestly, to wrap this up, being sober is like probably the best thing that's happened to me in a long time. Me breaking up with my ex-girlfriend that I love to this day has been the best thing that's ever happened to me too as well. It's really like jump-started me to make big improvements in my life that I'm really proud of. And yeah, I mean, I think anybody out there that's struggling with addiction, the first question you need to ask for yourself, if you're thinking that you might have a drug problem, alcohol problem, any sort of problem, is if I'm asking myself if I have a problem, I might have a problem. Do you want to take the next step to solving it? Do you want to get clean? Do you want to get sober? And all I can say is being sober is amazing. It's great. I would never trade it for anything. It works really well for me. Other people can drink responsibly. I'm not one of those people. I can't drink responsibly at all. So, yeah, guys, I just want to thank you all for helping me through my year of sobriety. You guys really made a huge difference in my life. I want to thank everybody out there that supported Ruin Your Day, all the patrons, all the people that did a watch episode, all the guests, all the people that tuned in for watch, everybody that bought merch, everybody that bought music. It means the world to me. So thank you guys. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Ruin an Hour, the safe place to talk about anything under the sun: depression, anxiety, sobriety, addiction, life, health, balance, anything. It's a safe place for you guys to discuss anything. My name is Kyle Gray. I'm the host of this channel and this show. We're live every day, not every day, every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on Ruin Your Day. Today, we have a very special guest. OOOPS will be joining us today, and he has a great deal of experience with mental health, and I'm really excited to have him here, but he's not here yet, and Ruin an Hour is never late, so I didn't want to start late just because he's not here. So I figured we could do some chatting with you guys. Let me bring up the screen capture. Boom. And then we can do some Q&A. How you guys doing today? How's life? How's everybody been doing out there? Anybody got any questions we can get into? Anybody you want to vent or anything like that? Today, since OOOPS is going to be on the show, we're going to be doing less typical like Q&A with the chat, and more so it's going to be a dialogue just between me and OOOPS. So we'll probably be chatting with the actual chat a little bit less than usual, and we might do it at the end of the show and have a discussion then. But mostly it's going to be me and OOOPS talking. So I figured now we can go live, talk to the chat, get that out of the way, and then when he gets here, we can just go straight into me and OOOPS. So how's everybody doing? What's life like for everybody out there? B-Dot is probably going to bring back his Right Angle podcast. He's just, got to get life situated first, and then he can get that cracking. Let me just get a track to play in between when I sign off. There we go. All right. Hey, Plus, how you doing? Are you doing any work with the URL PG event in LA? So far, I'm not contracted to work that event, but I wouldn't be surprised if I do it. What do you think is the best way to help a loved one with depression? I think a best way to do that is to be there for them as much as possible, but just know it's not your job in a relationship to fix somebody else's issues, somebody's problems. You're not there to make their life perfect. You're only there to give as much assistance and as much support as you can. So don't feel like you need to help them not be depressed. All you can do is be there for them as much as possible. Be there when they need to vent. Be there when they need somebody to talk to. Be a shoulder to lean on. But also be kind to yourself and know that this is their journey and it's their job to walk through their issues. So I just think being there for the loved one as much as possible is the best thing you can do. I had court this week for my daughter and go back in 8 weeks because we got an 8-week temp order. How's that going, Desi? Did it go good? Did court go good for you? Thanks, Adrian. Appreciate that. What made me get into battle rap? I love hip hop and I love battle rap. Big T, living life, just want to know daylight, did really battle T-Top, what side I can look at, blah, blah, blah. All right, guys, let's keep the questions non-battle rap related. Been keeping arguments with girlfriend at an all-time low since last chat. Thanks, Avo. Julius, that's amazing. Congrats, dude. That's a big fucking step, dude. That's awesome. Hell yeah. I do decaf or caffeinated tea. This is chamomile, so it doesn't have any caffeine in it. I just started drinking tea relatively recently again. But yeah, there's no caffeine in it. So would I start a league? It's a battle rap question, guys. Let's keep it non-battle rap related. And the answer is no, I would not start a league. Derek Avo, 17 weeks alcohol free, but I feel like that temptation more now. Is that normal? Definitely. That's definitely normal to get the temptation to dive back into any addiction at any point in time. Relapse is part of the recovery process, honestly. Not saying that you have to relapse to recover, because I don't think that's necessarily true either, but getting those temptations is very normal because you were not sober to begin with, so you're used to being able to have a drink to not feel uncomfortable anymore. So it's very normal to have that inclination and that temptation. And this is the hard part. This is where it's work to remain sober, and it's not always going to be easy being sober. Just like anything in life, it's not always going to be easy in a marriage. It's not always going to be easy at a job. There are going to be times that you don't want to be doing what you're doing, and it's going to be work to get through it. And all you got to do is do the work. You got to stay sober. Remember why you're sober in the first place. Know why you even want to drink. Like what that feeling is. Like why do I want to drink? Why am I being tempted? Am I uncomfortable? Am I stressed? What's really working under the surface? You know, once you find that out, it's a lot more easy to like recognize when you want to drink and when it's temptation and when you just want an escape. You know, because that's very easy to recognize too. When you're like, oh, I feel sad and I just want to not feel sad anymore, so this drink will make me feel good immediately, you know. But knowing that that feeling of sadness is going to be there after the drink too, after the feeling of being buzzed goes away, and if anything, drinking's not going to do anything good for you. It's just going to do everything bad for you. So what did you substitute for alcohol besides water? I substituted life, bro. Life, man. No, I mean, I don't, like when I go, I'm assuming you're asking like in a social situation where you like kind of have to be like drinking something. I'll do like sparkling water every now and then, or like a tonic water or something like that. But yeah, I didn't really, when I first stopped drinking, I actually started smoking cigars a lot. And on February 2nd, it had been a year since I quit smoking cigars. So it's been over a year since I've had a cigar or smoked any tobacco or anything like that. I never smoked cigarettes. So I smoked cigars for a while, and then I quit that. And then I was drinking coffee, not a lot, but I was having like 2 cups a day. And then this show actually helped me quit that. So really, I don't really drink anything besides water and like tea every now and then. So 2.5 months marijuana free, but may go back soon. Hey man, I mean, congrats, Louis H. Like, you made it 2.5 months. That's big as fuck. It's your choice to go back. If you think you can handle it, you can. Just congrats on being sober. Thanks, Big T. Appreciate you, man. No, don't worry about it. I'm just trying to keep it on track. Osiris Malik, do you believe that being alcohol-free or weed-free, I'm a stoner myself, but being free of mind and body-altering substances, does that help your libido? And will I bag more ladies if I'm sober? I mean, I don't think... I think having the objective to like bag more ladies with anything is kind of not a very healthy objective in life. Your objective to just having more sex with more people, I think, is a very unhealthy perspective to have. But to answer your question about your libido, yes, of course, being healthier in general will up your libido, and you'll have a much healthier probably relationship with sex, honestly, when you get sober. Because I think I know I can speak from personal experience. When I used to get drunk, I would cheat on every single girlfriend I've had. I'm a sex addict, so yeah, like drinking is like a gateway to doing stuff I regret. So I don't have that anymore. I don't ever like do anything even remotely close to that. So yeah, I think quitting anything that's clouding your mind and bringing you down and numbing out the moment will be in turn healthy for yourself, your life, your physical state, and your libido too. What do you think about somebody who is literally addicted to battle rap? I think if you're like addicted to doing anything, you gotta like really observe if it's an addiction that's toxic or it's something that you just really like to do. So battle rap is something that, like, it's kind of like, if it's getting in the way of your life, and if it's toxic to your lifestyle and it's bringing you down in terms of work or anything like that, I would say it's something that you probably need to step away from. But if it's something that you enjoy and you like doing, you like traveling, you like doing it, like, I don't think it's bad at all to, like, really like something like that. Was there a reason for quitting cigars, just health, or to try to move as much addiction as possible? I figured it'd be good for coping at first, the way they encourage cigarettes at treatments. Seductive Unicorn, I disagree with encouraging cigarettes. I think that's, like, actually a horrible thing to do for any addict, is to just have another addiction, especially cigarettes are just terrible for you all around. I quit smoking cigars because, A, it's really unhealthy. I was smoking a lot of them, and I was just switching alcohol for cigars. I was switching one addiction to the next, and I was really just chasing a buzz. I was still uncomfortable with being alone, with not being with my ex-girlfriend. A lot of factors I was uncomfortable with, and I was trying to buzz it out and numb it out. On top of that, my dad got diagnosed with congestive heart failure last year on February 2nd. And me and him bonded really closely over smoking cigars, and I basically wanted to just eliminate the chances of him even smoking a cigar again. So I was like, if me and him don't have that bonding experience, we'll bond over something healthier. So yeah, that was kind of my main reason. I think I may start back with edibles every now and then. Yeah, that's cool. Osiris, I mean, I'm in the same boat as you, man. Same fucking boat. What are some usual signs that someone's struggling with addiction? I would say if you're struggling with addiction, that means that your health, your financial situation, and your job and your relationship are all being jeopardized by your addiction. For me, that was alcoholism and sex, and I also have, like, a work addiction. I also recently discovered I have kind of a love addiction too. I just read a book on it, and I definitely empathize, and a lot of it resonates with me about being a love addict. But if any of those categories are affected by something you're doing, I would say that you're probably addicted to that. So, Louis, thank you, man. I mean, he's doing better, so I appreciate that. All right, OOOPS is 4 minutes away, so should be here soon. We're probably going to run a little bit longer today, but I have to be done in an hour. I have a meeting, so I got to be done for that. But yeah, any other questions you guys want to ask before I sign off? If a friend is so obsessed with battle rap that they spend most of their money on events, obsess and talk about it all the time, pushing people away because they don't get it, what would you say? So is that person literally, like, isolating themselves in the culture? Because I think there is a distinction between being a fanatic of something and being an addict of something, and I think there is a very big space between those two. I think a lot of people are fanatics of sports, and I think that it's not entirely healthy, but I don't think it's as toxic as an actual addiction. And I think people these days are really quick to label addiction on things that I think it's kind of problematic to say that it's an addiction. Like, you're addicted to football. You watch football every Sunday and you spend money on it, and you won't spend time with me, says like a guy's wife or something, which to a degree she does have merit, like, but the thing is, it's like I struggle really quantifying whether that's an actual addiction or that's just being a fanatic. So something like battle rap, it's kind of hard to, like, be like you're addicted to it. I think if that person's job, their financial situation, their relationship, and their health are suffering because of it, I think that would be an important thing to, like, be like, you're an addict, you need to back off of it. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna sign off. I'll be right back with OOOPS.
They wanna love me, but that come and go. Know that feeling, cause it come and go. No emotions cause they come and go. Fuck it though, fuck it though. Got these bodies on my conscience. Wow, they on 1, then I'm on 10. Wow, don't get me started now. Look what you started now. I remember reading credits on an album that I bought, spending hours on the bus, then an hour in the spot. Drive a flower in the trunk, put the flower in the pot. Do an album in a month, put a coward in a box. Gunpowder from the shots flying, iron in your top 5. Stop lying, fuck with your psyche like your God dying. Where you watch silent and don't speak. Way I was brought up, it humbled me like an old tweet. I'm with the drama, I roast beef to get the butcher. I been behind the stove heat and get the cooking. So tell those bitches in my shit fire. Trigger finger, fuck a middle finger to the dip fry. Forgive them for they know not. They bitter as the cold got in the middle of a cold streak in the winter when the snow drop. Yeah, they swear my love is in question. I either know better or don't care enough to correct them. I tell them they wanna love me, but that come and go. Know that feeling cause it come and go. No emotions cause they come and go. Fuck it though, fuck it though. Got these bodies on my conscience. Wow, they on 1, then I'm on 10. Wow, don't get me started now. Look what you started now.
Lately I'm feeling the feeling I had is lost, but maybe it's revealing that I'm really slacking off. I've been connected way before I had a Macintosh. Go out and get it, don't sit and wait for the past to cross. With my orchestra, I'm scoring a sadder song. Recording through this Avalon, built a fort in Babylon. Not the one to sit in sorrow. Pride's a bitter pill to swallow. Hear the snakes hiss and chain skin like vitiligo. This is what my heart represents. Gotta guard the premises. Every hero needs his arch nemesis. This the type of shit they buy in store and line up for. I always ball, what the fuck I need a liner for? I got homies that hustle trees, bubble for the cake, pumping weight like Muscle Beach, grinding for this cash, doing what I can to flood the streets, hide the stash like Superman and Justice League.
They wanna love me, but that come and go. Know that feeling cause it come and go. No emotions cause they come and go. Fuck it though, fuck it though. Got these bodies on my conscience. Wow, they on 1, then I'm on 10. Wow.
All right, guys, welcome to Ruin an Hour, safe place to talk about anything under the sun. Today, I have a very special guest with me. Super excited. I've been wanting to have this guy on the show for a very long time. OOOPS, ladies and gentlemen.
You know what it is, man. I'm elated to be here. I've been wanting to be on for a minute, as you know. We talked about it, so and it's such a needed platform. So I'm just happy to be here.
Cool. So what do you want to get into? Because I don't really even know where to start. But I know that you have a lot of history with mental health, and it's different than my perspective, which is why I'm really excited to talk to you.
Right.
So do you just want to kind of talk about your history?
Yeah.
With it?
And my history is so familiar with so many, people of color.
Yeah.
Right. That come from just impoverished neighborhoods. Growing up, we didn't talk about mental health. We didn't talk about mental health because my dad didn't know what it was, right? They didn't know because their parents didn't know. And so there's always been this sense of, we made it through all these things, throughout history.
Yeah.
Anything don't kill you, make you stronger and all these things. But so we had that mindset. So we go throughout life. And so when you're going through gun violence, when you got folks dying in funerals, depressed because of, poverty as a whole, you just keep on ticking, and it really literally almost killed me, because that moment where you finally realize that this ain't normal, it's awakening, but on the same hand, it's like then you relive everything that you kind of pushed to the side or you buried, deep down in your thoughts, and you start to replay all of that. And so that's what happened to me. I'm 35 years old, and I've been to over 200 funerals in my lifetime. I've seen a lot. I've been through a lot. And
So not talking about that trauma, built like bottled it up.
And it was like a 2-liter Sprite bottle.
Yeah.
For 30 years being shook up.
Yeah.
Right. And then I was about 31, and that top came off too fast.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and just exploded.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to handle it at first because it was a whole new emotion. It was a whole new feeling. You know, like why am I feeling this way? I was okay being numb to death. So I was okay, you know, being numb to poverty. Now that I notice it, it's like my whole world is different. My life is different. And I think, you know, even in my walks of life, whatever it was, right, whether it was politics, whether it was battle rap, whether it was, you know, fatherhood, I took a different approach once I finally realized that, you know what, this isn't normal. It's actually okay to not be okay. You know, we get so caught up when folks say, hey, you know, how you doing? Oh, I'm okay. And like now I literally, you know, if I'm not, I say, no, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
But that's cool.
Yeah.
If I'm not,
Totally.
you know? And so being able to take a step back, being able to get that much needed help, and the help looks different, right? Depending on who you are, depending on what you're suffering from. We can't demonize any form of therapy, right? Because therapy works for some people it don't work for. Some people who deal with things that are a little more that have to do kind of with a chemical imbalance, right? Like medically, then prescriptions might help for that, you know. But it's just I don't like for people to kind of demonize those folks who have to take these certain routes, you know, because it helps them. You know, the medication didn't help me because I didn't like this feeling of just not being, you know, aware, or it was another numb feeling again.
Yeah, did it just numb everything?
Yeah, it literally made you. It's like you walking around and life is just.
Yeah.
You know, how you feeling?
Yeah.
And like, once it wears off, you feel how you felt. You're like, what the?
Yeah.
Nah, that ain't me.
Yeah.
You know, so now I had got to this point where I'm like, well, if I wake up crying, you know what I'm saying? If I wake up upset, I'm cool with that, right? Let's just figure out another way. But then I have friends who it helps them, and they react to it a totally different way. They don't have that numbness. It actually makes their moods better, you know. And so we just can't demonize what works for people, right? Because I mean, we just all react to things differently.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to mental health.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And you just got to find out what works for you.
Absolutely.
So,
because it might be one of the hidden jewels for me was working out.
Yeah, exercise.
Right?
It's a big one.
Going to
It's
the
a big
gym
one.
and being able to like just lift and I mean, whether even if you're not lifting, if you cardio, whatever you're doing, right, and being able to do something on a schedule. Because one thing about and this is only me speaking from my experience. You know, I don't want people to be like, oh, he's an expert.
Yeah.
But one thing I've noticed about me and other folks that go through depression, one thing we have issues with when it's heavy is like having a schedule, like doing things regularly, or even having the will to do anything, right?
Yeah.
I remember when I was living in St. Louis and I was, it was like the worst. I was at my lowest point, and I got up and I walked downstairs because my room was on the top floor, so I walked downstairs to go to the bathroom, and I walked in the living room, and it was like stuff was everywhere, like clothes and bags, and you know, it was just everywhere, and it wasn't dirty, it was just messy,
Just like chaos kind of. Yeah.
And I stood there and I looked at my apartment, I looked at everything, and I just started crying. I was like, you know, I don't know what's going on with me. You know, this ain't me.
Yeah.
And I remember cleaning up. I remember getting so mad that I just started cleaning, ripped I didn't even know that the covers came off my couch. Like, I was like, oh, I could watch these too.
Yeah.
And I remember cleaning my entire house, going upstairs, making my bed, and how much better I felt just because it was organized, just because my mind is already cluttered.
Yeah.
So it doesn't help if everything else is cluttered. And I think when we go through depression and anxiety, I think it's those small things that trigger us, those small things that we usually don't pay attention to, you know what I'm saying, in detail.
Yeah.
And it could be the smallest thing, and people are like, why are you getting so upset? It's like, because this is what's triggering me right now.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely finding out what works for you. One thing I tell people that I learned, somebody told me, I think they read it in a book or somewhere. Somebody really smart said something, profound, and said, get up and make your bed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because once you make your bed, you've already completed one task. And it just gets you on that rhythm of, all right, what else do I have to do?
Yeah.
I like to make lists.
Okay.
What do I need to do today?
Okay, like to-do lists.
To-do list, yeah.
Interesting.
What do I need to do?
Yeah.
Because accomplishing that, all of that helps you with anxiety. It helps you with your depression.
Yeah.
But the most important thing you said, bro, was like find out it might be jogging, it might be doing cartwheels, like whatever works for you.
Yeah.
And it causes you to be in a better place after you're done. We can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for real. I mean, I don't think... It's funny, Jim's actually said this. He said, I've never left the gym feeling worse than I did before. And that's so true.
That's real.
Every time I leave the gym, even if I had a bad session, I didn't do as good as I wanted to, I leave feeling slightly better.
Right.
Or feeling amazing.
Right.
So yeah, doing some form of exercise, like you said, it doesn't have to be work. It doesn't have to be lifting weights. You could just walk around your block after dinner or something,
Right.
But yeah, I wanted to also talk about anxiety and depression in the Black community, not talked about a lot, right?
Right.
Why do you feel that is?
Couple different reasons. The main reason is we never knew how to talk about it because we never knew exactly what it was. With these feelings that we've had all these years, of anxiety, of depression,
yeah,
it was always treated with, pray about it.
Okay.
You'll be okay. We'll be all right. We're strong.
Yeah.
And so I think it was more so of like just the miseducation or lack of education about anxiety and depression, and then that stigma that was put on it. Don't even know where it started.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm put that in my head to kind of research and do the history on that, but this stigma of Black folk, like we don't get help. Why would we go talk to a shrink? And I remember just growing up, and I went to a predominantly white school because I was bussed out.
Yeah.
From the city, and I remember coming home and telling my mom, who's like the greatest person on earth, and I remember telling her like, maybe we should go to therapy. Like therapy. White folks go to therapy.
Yeah,
we're not going to no therapy.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. And now me and my mom have learned so much together. These last couple of years that she's been like really, just been there for me too.
Yeah.
We've learned together how how this stigma has kind of set us as a people back when it comes to anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
But it's this idea that it's generational. It's really generational trauma passed down.
Yeah.
You think about, you can think far back as slavery, and that never goes away.
Yeah.
That never leaves us. I don't know, it's just so, I think one thing that we have to do, and I think that's why I use my platform, I know that's why I use my platform so much to talk about it, is because when I do, so many people, especially people of color, come and say, thank you. I needed to talk to that. Like, we see so many people now online, even in our community, right?
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to the BRC, like, we see so many people talking about it.
Yeah.
Like, which is good, which is great.
For
you know?
sure.
But we have to just do more of that. But now I think we've moved into this realm of keep spreading the awareness, but like, what are we gonna do for resources, which is the other problem in the Black community. It's so hard healthcare wise. Right?
Yeah.
We
For
talk
sure.
about access to healthcare.
Yep.
And if it costs you $150 an hour to go get therapy,
Yeah.
we can't afford that.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
So where are we gonna go? We're gonna go to the church.
Yeah.
Which I would never knock, whatever anybody, religion, anything, right?
Yeah.
But you go to the church and you have folks who have a certain way of dealing with things and they live their life by certain principles. They might not necessarily, sometimes that doesn't, the information doesn't necessarily align with you getting better.
For sure.
I remember I was talking to a preacher, and he's like, God don't put more on you than you can handle. I said, I know a lot of people that committed suicide because they felt they couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
And I said they were Christians, and they were Muslim, they were Buddhist, they were all of these different religions.
Yeah.
But they all felt the same way.
Yeah.
I said, so it comes to a time we gotta sit that to the side and we gotta talk about really what's wrong. And I think, not going off on a tangent, but I think the other problem we have is when we have these conversations, right? The people that we're talking to, our friends, our family, we have to do better at understanding depression and anxiety. For those who might not necessarily go through it or go through it as much, or it might not bother them, right? I feel like we have to do a better job because some of the advice we give and some of the things we say are extremely triggering, and we just so used to, saying different stuff. When we talk, it's a more so, hey, how you doing? I'm good. How you doing? I'm good. I had a rough day. Da da da. And then we build from there.
Yeah.
But the problem is when you say, oh, well, this, I'm feeling this way, and then that person responds with, well, everybody gets down.
Yeah.
You'll be all right.
Yeah.
Or me too. And it's like, no, that's not what we need to hear right now. Sometimes people just want you to listen. Sometimes people just they don't even want you to talk back.
Yeah.
I remember it was times where I was extremely depressed where I would call like my closest friends, which I only had a handful of them, and just want to be on the phone. Like, we ain't got to talk. Bring my kids over. I just want y'all presence here.
Yeah.
And so we as folks who, the folks who don't deal with it, we have to try to find a better way of helping folks with anxiety and depression the way they need to be helped, rather than the way that they feel comfortable helping them.
Okay.
Right? Because that might not work for them.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to talk about it. They might not want to talk about it right now. They might just want to sit here and be quiet. And if you can't do that, cool.
Yeah.
That's fine. You're not obligated to.
Yeah.
We'll find somebody that will, but I feel like that's overlooked, and it's something small, because I know a lot of people who, I just remember December 2018, I remember, having these thoughts that it's better off for me not being here. And I remember certain conversations I was having, and those folks were just trying to help, but inadvertently they were pushing me more over the edge.
Interesting.
And it was making it easier for me to be like, all right, well, maybe I'm right.
Yeah.
Maybe what I'm hearing, maybe what my, whatever I'm listening to, whatever voices, whatever, maybe they're right.
How do you gauge that now, going through with what you've gone through, when somebody comes to you like, hey, oops, I know that you have, history or like you have experience with anxiety and depression. I think I'm depressed. Like, how do you navigate? What's the correct way to assimilate conversation about it? Like, how do you go about like feeling out what their needs are?
So what I do, which happens a lot, especially via Twitter, like,
Yeah.
man, I be typing.
Yeah.
But I don't care what time it is, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's all good, because there was a point, and it's still, I'm not, we all still making it day by day. So the first thing I do, I listen. I just ask, what's going on? Once you ask what's going on, that person who's reaching out to you probably has reached out to so many people that they are close to, right? People that they feel comfortable talking to.
Yeah.
And they got the wrong answers. They got shut out. Nobody ever stopped and said, well, what's wrong? And just shut up, right?
Yeah.
And so the first thing I say is, well, what's going on? How you feeling? And usually it comes with a long explanation. It's like, oh, okay, I get it. I get it. You feel like this way, you feel this way. And I spend more time listening than talking.
Okay.
And usually, sometimes what'll happen is somebody will talk their way all the way into a solution.
Yeah.
Right? Just by me listening.
Yeah.
And like, oh, you know what? All right, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Or when it's done, they're like, so how do you deal? Then I wait on the question for them to ask me, well, how do you deal with it? And most of the time, when we go through depression, anxiety, we've had a lot of these same issues, thoughts, feelings, symptoms, whatever you want to call it. And so you go directly into, all right, well, this is how not telling you that this is the say all be all.
Yeah.
This is just one way I was able to deal with it. But I always go back to just figuring out what it is. And I ask people, well, what do you like to do? When you're happiest, right? Which is something I learned, from, one of my closest friends, Smirty. She would always ask me, like, if you had the perfect day, right? Like, what does your perfect day look like? And my perfect day was always chilling with my kids, bowling, listening to Rod Stewart. Right? If I could do that all day, I'm good.
Yeah.
Life is great.
Yeah.
I could do that for 40 years. You take me out here, I'm cool. I've lived.
That's awesome.
And so, like, now I would ask people that, and they would tell me, and I say, well, that's, put yourself there, right? Put yourself in that mindset. Like, think about that.
Yeah.
And that's just a quick escape. That's a way to, and that's how I remember you were having a conversation, and I was talking about my anxiety attacks. And I remember I was like, well, I've kind of formed these kind of solutions that help me, recognize fast, and that was one of them. It's going to my happy place in my head and realizing that, what, okay, that makes sense. I need to go here. I need to do this. I need to breathe.
Yeah.
Breathing is so underestimated.
Yeah, for real.
Breathing is like, I tell people all the time, well, the folks who are old enough to remember, we used to have the gray Nintendo.
Yeah.
With the flop top.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Breathing is like, it's not cutting the power, but it's not pressing the power button, cutting it off, cutting it back. It's just pressing the reset button. And it all goes back. Button goes back to the same place.
Yeah.
You don't have to take the game out. You don't have to worry about the power. It just resets everything.
Yeah.
Right? It may have been a glitch, and your Madden may be tweaking. Yeah. But it's just like pressing that reset button. And when you're able to take a step back and breathe, it just gives you perspective. Because when you breathe, you think.
Yeah.
All right.
What type of breathing exercises do you do? Is there like anything in particular? Or do you like hold your breath? Like
so what I'll do is I'll do 1 minute, like close to 1 minute, like deep breaths.
Okay.
Where I really try to hold, and what I'll do is, I don't know if it's scientifically whatever, but I'll take in that deep breath and I'll hold it as long as possible.
Okay.
And when I can't hold it anymore, reality sets in. Right? I'm not going to let myself choke. I'm not going to, it's impossible, for me.
Yeah.
And so it's like taking in that deep breath and holding it as long as possible and then just letting it out. and it just gives you this sense of, all right, where am I?
Yeah.
What am I thinking about? What do I need to do to get out of this situation?
Yeah.
Because now I have anxiety attacks, actually a lot more than I used to, but they're not as severe as they used to be. It was where I would shut down. I'd be crying. I'd just be frantic, you know. And now it's like I get that way, but I'll get quiet. I'll move to the back of the room and I'll step outside real quick, fresh air, deep breath, realize where I'm at, and I'm cool.
So they're not debilitating anymore.
They're not debilitating anymore.
And that's because you've learned how to cope with them.
Yeah.
So breathing is a big one for you.
Breathing is a big one.
Going to your happy place.
Yeah.
How do you, when you say that, so you're saying like being with your kids, bowling, do you just picture yourself bowling with your children?
Yeah, I picture myself bowling with my children while Rod Stewart is playing.
So like everything.
Everything in one.
Okay.
Because it's our happy place. It's just like our dreams, right? Like, people talk about like, this is your dream, you know, in our dreams, not nightmares, but dreams. Like, we do amazing things and we love them, and you know. Yeah. And it's like your happy place. You get to create that. Yeah. So if you bowling with your kids while Rod Stewart is playing and unicorns are running around, like that's your happy place. Yeah. And it works different for everybody. But I remember when she told me that, it was kind of like this moment where I'm like, this is like discovering, you know, Einstein's theory of relativity.
It's like a light bulb went off.
It's like, let me do this. Yeah. You know? And so that's you know, being able to go into your happy place, being able to breathe, being able to take a step back, and then being able to remove yourself from situations, right? That may be triggering or that may be causing that. Being able to just step back, and if that's family, whoever it is, right? Like, you gotta preserve your energy and your mental space. And so if you need to step back, if you need to, you know, we feel so obligated sometimes that, well, you know, this is my dad, or this is my brother, this is my mom, this is my loved one, these are my kids. Like, if you're not no good to yourself, you ain't gonna be no good for everybody else. Yeah. You know, and that's probably in the last year and some change, that's the biggest lesson that I've learned.
For sure. That's a really good lesson to learn. So now I don't have that much experience with depression, and people ask about that a lot in this show. How do you cope with that? Is it similar to anxiety?
So depression is, for me, it's similar. Depression is rough though. Yeah. Like, depression is a whole, and I think you, and I'm glad you said it that way and framed it that way, because it's about coping with it. Yeah. Right? It's about understanding that.
Yeah, it's not, you're never going to get rid of it, cure. Like, there's nothing like that. You're going to have to live with it.
You're going to have to live with it. And you're going to have to learn even when those times come where that depression, because that depression is dark. Yeah. Right? And what helps me through the depression is realizing that there's always light somewhere. Right? And it's a hard place to get to. It's not just, you know, I would never lie to people, like, you know, just think happy thoughts. Yeah. You know, when it comes to depression. Yeah. But depression is dark. And the more you're not depressed and you recognize what your light is, right? What your light is. When you get depressed, you still will know what your light is, right? So even if you're in that dark place, because sometimes as folks who deal with depression heavily, sometimes like we have to go to that place, right? A lot of times we have to go to that place to appreciate the light, you know, because something is dragging us there. And I've become one with my depression, right? I wrote a poem called "The Broken Fixer." Okay. Right, and it was in a poem I talked about just that need, like being in the dark, just making you appreciate the light and understanding like it's a yin and a yang. It's a balance. And without the darkness, you will never appreciate the light, right? People can act like they walking around here happy as hell all day long if they want to. That's not realistic.
For sure.
Right? I don't care how rich you are. I don't care how life is good. There was something that brought you down.
Yeah.
You know, at one point. And so, with those dark places, I've learned to appreciate them, because I know when that light comes, it's gonna have a whole different life. Is gonna have a whole different meaning. I was walking down Melrose today, and I saw this in the window, and it reminded me like those little lanterns from the old movie where they like,
Oh yeah,
that's all they had. They ain't have no light switches. They ain't have no flashlights. Like, this is it, right? And through a dark tunnel, through a dark cave, they always had this light, right? Even if it was a small light, if it's so dark, if it's pitch black, the smallest light can show you 10, 15, 20 feet, right? And that's how I felt when I saw this. I'm like, I always think about like some of these dark times that I've had, and it's like the smallest light. It's the movie. It's my kids. It's battle rap. It's my family. It's me getting healthy. It's me looking in the mirror and I don't look like a pencil no more. Like I look like a Sharpie. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever works. Like these are my little. You know, that's my little piece of the light. That's like, all right, I see it. You know, and it may be I might have to walk 40, 50 more feet to get there, but I know it's coming. So there's no answer that's gonna please folks when it comes to, you know, coping with depression. It's just like when you get in those dark spaces, it's like just think about the light. Think about what brings you light. You know, think about the reality of that light. You know, because that dark space is just darkness. You know what I'm saying? It's just something. It wants that depression and darkness wants you to feel like it's bigger than what it is. Right? That's the point. That's the point of depression. That's the point of it, you know, in my opinion. And it wants you to feel like it's bigger than it is. I treat depression and that darkness the same way I would treat, sounds funny, but I'm dead serious, the same way I would treat Freddy in a movie, right?
Okay.
You know for a fact when you go to sleep that this is a nightmare, right? This isn't reality to me. You know, this isn't reality to me. I know this isn't reality because I see you here. If it was reality, I wouldn't see you here. You know, and that darkness is the same way for me. So it's like, I'll fall into it. People pass away. I had a guy brother, really close guy, pass away just a month ago. And I was in that place again that I hadn't been in a while. But I got out of it super fast. You know, a lot faster than I used. It wasn't days. It wasn't, you know, it was 24 hours. And it's like, all right, life is good. Life is good. You know, and life is good because we're here. You know, when we wake up on that other side, when we wake up and take that deep breath, that's half the fight. You know, and realizing that's just important for all of us to be here. It's somebody that we touch. It's somebody's life that we touch. It's somebody's world that we make better. You know, and realizing that those folks need us outside of us needing us. Right? And when you realize that, you try to imagine. What I do is when I get those thoughts, because they still come, I try to imagine what those folks who need me, who I feel like need me, what would it be like if I wasn't, right? And that's always a hurtful feeling for me, like, because I never want to do that. You know, and that gives me this dose of reality, like, all right, I'm here. We here. We good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I also like how you talked about the light, because, you know, you have a lot of accolades. You're out here because your documentary is nominated for an Oscar. That's like some life-changing, huge thing that a lot of people won't ever experience, you know. But I like how you said the light's very simple, you know. It's like bowling with your children, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously a lot of people don't have kids too, but just it's like super simple that you can go to. It's not like think about all like the battles I've won, to think about me nominated for an Oscar and all the
Right.
possibility
Mm-hmm.
the doors is opening. You're not thinking of the big stuff, you're thinking about the very simple, tangible,
Mm-hmm.
like feasible things.
And I think about the things that will always be a constant to
Yeah.
me, right?
Yeah, okay.
These are the things that are familiar. I know my kids,
Yeah.
right? If everybody in the world turned their back and said the hell with Bruce Franks, oops, my kids ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, word.
Right? I know bowling.
Yeah.
That's my if I, you know, God forbid, if I lost both my arms, I'd be able to kick the ball down there and put a spin on it. You know?
Word.
And Rod Stewart always spoke to just to my soul as a young person because of my uncle, right? And that was always my connection with my uncle. And now that my uncle's passed, it's even more so now. So I can never lose that, right?
Yeah.
Every Rod Stewart CD and song could be wiped off the face of the earth. I know the tunes, I know the ad-libs, I know the instruments in the background because it's all up here.
Yeah.
Right? The Oscars are fantastic being here, especially with the team. But
Mm-hmm.
a year ago, we weren't thinking about the Oscars.
Yeah.
And when the Oscars are over, we're gonna be back trying to work on something else.
Yeah.
Right? And we could be there again or we could not be there again. That's not a constant for me.
Yeah.
You know, battle rap, I love battle rap. Whether I won or lost, that's not a constant for me. You know, so finding those things that are constant, that are familiar, that are cemented, you know, into they're already cemented into the best places of your brain and your heart.
Yeah.
Right? So just making sure you hang on to them.
Yeah. That's real good advice. That's real good advice. All right, so we're almost at an hour. Anything you want to wrap up with or tell the folks out there? Just like an ending statement or anything?
Yeah. So as a person who's dealt with depression, anxiety, and to be really frank and honest, we don't talk enough about that moment when everything gets to the max. Right? We're doing really good about talking about anxiety and depression. You know, we're bringing that to the forefront, but we're not talking about that moment when we feel like it's better off not being here.
Yeah.
Because it's such a regular thing. Like it's really more common than people think about.
Yeah.
Because I remember the Craig Lamar battle when I was talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So many people hit me up and was like, "Man, thank you for speaking on it." Like, and were telling me their stories.
Cool.
And that's something that we have to talk about. But on the same hand, when we know we have people that are suffering from depression, suffering from anxiety, suffering from survivor's guilt, whatever it is, right? And we know they're going through things, like we have to check in. That check-in can save a life. Short story, December 2018, after losing Sylvester, who was my best friend, who was my right hand, best man at my wedding, just like I miss him every day. And losing my godson at 16 years old. And I have been saving all of these lives of folks that I don't know. I have been providing jobs and saving all these folks from gun violence that I didn't know.
Yeah.
And the two of the people that were closest to me, I couldn't.
Yeah.
That took me to the darkest place that I could ever be, I've ever been.
Yeah.
And I remember the day I had my gun, I had pills, I had a bottle of promethazine.
Yeah.
And as a person who's not afraid of death, it was an easy choice for me. And my phone buzzed. And I looked at it, and it was my friend. And just asked me how I was doing. I was like, not good. Not doing good at all, actually. That text saved my life. Had she not texted me, I'm not here.
Yeah.
Period. There's no Oscars. There's no battle rap. There's no St. Louis Superman.
Yeah.
Right? It's nothing. It's gone.
Yeah.
When we able to check up on each other, we just don't know. Like that could be that one. So, like, above all the advice and everything that we've talked about or we ever gonna talk about or able to talk about, the one thing we can do is check on each other.
So check in on your people.
Checking on your people, man.
Also, you said that you're very open to people communicating with you, right?
Oh, anytime. One thing about it, I know what it's like to be there.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I check on my friends.
Yeah.
You know, and it's I just know I know what that's like, and I never want to be that person that could have checked on, right?
Yeah.
Because then you beat the hell out of yourself.
Yeah.
Being that person that should have, knowing you should have.
Yeah.
And so that's another underrated thing that we can do. Like, we got all these different platforms, right? How refreshing is, like, me and you interact, like, especially Twitter, right? Like, how refreshing is it when somebody puts up on, you know, just checking on you, you know, how y'all feeling?
Yeah.
And people are able to say, oh, well, this day's, you know, not going too well,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
and then we all able to chime in,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's one thing that I've been seeing that I really like. We see somebody going through something, we get behind them. You know, it's gonna be cool. Take your time. You know, one day at a time. Whatever you need. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And that's part of it. You know, that's part of it. So we gotta use these platforms to make sure we all right. So it's about checking on our people.
Word up, man. Well, hell yeah. That's an hour. Anything you want to end it with? Like, where could people contact you? What's your preferred place? Twitter?
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, it's all the same. Bruce Franks Jr. If it's like really extensive and you want to email me, it's brucefranksjr@gmail.com. You know, it's, you know, and through those outlets I give my number out. You know, if we need to, you know, get on a text together and have a thread just to check in. You know, if need be, you know, worst case scenario, we definitely could talk. I hate talking on the phone, but I will talk if you need it.
Same here.
I hate talking
I know,
on
me
the
too.
phone.
Prefer texting so much.
I'll text all day.
Yeah.
Like me and Avocado are friends in real life, and I don't think we've ever talked
on
the
phone.
phone.
No. We're texters,
we
for real.
got a bunch of long text threads. But if need be, I will. You know, whatever makes sense. But yeah, just don't hesitate to reach out to me.
Hell yeah. All right, guys. Thanks to OOOPS for coming by. This is Ruin an Hour. We're live every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Hope to see you in here again.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Have a good day. I will see y'all later.